right. These people are filthy rich, racist, tyrannical mother, and you're giving them your money. I found this.
It's not mine.
How did you get this?
It's not my movie!
How many times have you seen this?
One,
What is there to like about these people?
that she's a princess. All I like is that they're princesses.
Welcome to the School Sucks Project, a podcast, YouTube channel, and online community dedicated to personal growth and intellectual self-defense.
We promote learning alternatives, home education, critical thinking, peaceful parenting, organization and productivity, and better communication strategies.
Please remember to visit SchoolSucksProject.com to get comprehensive show notes, relevant links,
Or to just leave comments.
follow us on Twitter at School Sucks Show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, username School Sucks Podcast, and get involved in our Facebook group. Just search for School Sucks Project.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the collaborative process, and I'm also really interested in going behind the scenes of your production process. So I thought, because that's probably very varied, you're dealing with different people, different locations, different stories, if I gave you one specific video that I was particularly fascinated by, and maybe we could go behind the scenes of that.
Sure.
There's actually two of them, and it is one of the videos that I share most frequently, or when I am doing the party winding down, everyone goes to YouTube, have you heard of Joy Camp move? This is one of the ones that I show first, and it's Princess Intervention. So I'm very, very interested in how this video, and it's from conception to finished product. Let's start with where the idea came from and how basically a script or a format was created for let's actually really just laser in on Princess Intervention, the relapse.
Oh, the relapse.
Yeah.
I'd rather, can we go with the other one too? Cause the other one, can we start
please
with the other
do. Yeah, please do. Please do.
Because that's more of an interesting story, I think. So anyway, that was one of our first 6 videos. So we filmed that before we launched Joy Camp. So we still had no idea what the reception was going to be like or what was going to happen. It was one of the original 6. And that started, the idea from that came from a rant that I had. I mean, I was sitting around with Kevin and his little brother, Michael, and we were smoking pot and just having fun. And, Kevin, both of their older brother, John, has 3 daughters, and they are obsessed with Disney. The whole family is obsessed with Disney, obsessed. And Rebecca, the girl who's in the video, has all the princess dresses. I mean, they go to Disneyland all the time, obsessed with Disney, sickeningly obsessed with Disney.
Sure, yeah.
And she's just obsessed with Disney princesses. And Michael was telling some story about it, and it was just really irritating me. And I started going on this rant about how absurd princess culture is, because there's no such thing as an American princess. Like, all it's doing is setting these girls up for disappointment, and how wrong that was. And they were both laughing as I was going on like this tirade about just the absurdity of the princess culture. And as they were laughing, I thought, okay, well, this is something worth noting. Like, this is funny. Like, I'm on a roll. What can we do with this? And so from there, we had the idea of actually using the inspiration for the rant, Rebecca, their niece, and actually having this like talk where I'm talking exactly like I was talking to them, but to her about it. And they called up their sister-in-law, her mom, Elizabeth, and asked if she'd be okay with that. And she said yes, without even hesitating, and even asked like which dress should she wear, which was, perfect. So we had her over. She came over, and she was very shy on camera. Very shy. She's a very precocious girl, but she was very shy. And I had a loose idea of what I wanted to say, but it wasn't like a real dialogue-driven script, because we didn't want to give her dialogue.
So that was all ad-libbed, what she said in the video?
It was all ad-libbed, and then my reactions to her were all ad-libbed. But everything I said to her, I mean, that was really what I was saying. Like, there was no... She was actually in the room. Like, all the stuff I said was directly to her, and she was responding. And as she warmed up, she was, like, really questioning what I was saying, and I would say something, and she'd respond with, like, well, I like Disney, you know? What else are you going to say, I guess? I'd say something. She's like, well, I like princesses. They're
How
really
old was
nice.
she?
Gosh, now
Then?
I don't know how she is. That was 4 years ago, so she's... I think she was... Oh, man, I'm going to get this wrong. She was probably, like, 6 back then, so she's probably, like, 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, you know,
so that was a real conversation.
That's the interesting thing about it. What was so intriguing is I have 2 brothers. They have children, 4, 5 between the 2 of them. And gosh, you know, I question some of their decisions, but I don't have any kids of my own. So you know how that goes, right? And how seriously your advice is going to be taken. And, I remember watching, cause I saw the intervention, the second one first.
Okay.
And I said to myself, whose child is this? And why would they allow it? You know, I was kind of like thinking just from my own experience, like, if I had said to my brother, yeah, I want to have an intervention with your child about the bullshit they're being fed. I can't imagine, like, if I wanted to do something, like about, Santa Claus, like that. That would be, quite the third rail. So but you said that the agreement of the parent was almost instantaneous, which I find really interesting.
Because they thought the idea of her being on camera and, like, it might help her get an agent, and, like, they were really thinking about, you know, what it would mean for her. And we weren't thinking about that. But that video, the first one, the only part that was scripted was the opening bit. Like, there's the opening when I say, you know, we need to talk, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. That's all scripted, and then once it cuts to her, that was all improvised, the whole thing. And it was very, I mean, what you saw was, like, expert editing, because Kevin was taking stuff from all over the conversation we were having and, like, condensing it into a very sort of cohesive package.
How much raw footage did you have?
Oh my gosh, a lot for that one. I mean, back then also, like, we weren't as tight as a group. I mean, that was the beginning of this all. So a lot of the stuff in the beginning of Joy Camp didn't have scripts. We were just really riffing. So that was really loose. I had bullet points. I knew, like, things I could say. I had things in my back pocket, like, I could bring out there, like Princess Diana, and talking about, you know, Snow White and how she was friends with dwarves. And, like, I had, like, my you know, my bag of tricks, but it all had to come out fluidly. But for the second one, which you saw first, the relapse, that was part of a bigger project that we submitted to one of the Alex Jones film contests that he had. But we did a different approach to that one, actually. We recorded all of her reactions first. We actually had an idea what we wanted her to say. And so the camera was only on her, and we just kept, like, offering her things to say, offering her things to react to, and then based off how she was, and we also knew what I wanted to say, but we didn't have it structured yet. So then she left, and then we put the camera on me, and I think Nick, who's in our group, he had written down all of her responses, and so it was almost like 2 videos in one. She wasn't in the room when I'm talking. So we see in Relapse, it's me just talking to nobody. That was the sense. And I mean, I just have an eye for that, you know? And I was like, there's no way he did that in front of the girl. Yeah. And some of the stuff, cause we got a little more intense with the second one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Princess Kate's last name is?
Middleton.
Correct. Do you know what William's last name is?
Prince William. Remember.
Exactly. They don't want you to know. He's actually German. They're from a German bloodline. His last name is actually Battenberg. And they all marry each other. They're all cousins. Do you want to marry your cousin?
No.
Exactly.
But I don't even know if I have one.
These people are inbred.
Inbred.
They marry each other.
They're all married to each other? Even girls are married to girls and boys are married to boys?
It's not quite like that. but brothers do marry sisters, and cousins marry cousins.
What do they do with their kids, though?
Well, some go on to be royalty, and the rest are retarded because they're inbred.
But when she was reacting, she was really reacting to the actual lines that it was saying, like talking about the groom of the stool and all that stuff. Those were such honest reactions from her that were genuine because I was really saying it. But then when the camera was on me, it was, I was just pretending like she was there and using what she had said and like remembering it and having to respond. And yeah, that's how that one was made.
All right. So there's a random question. There's a prop in that video that really makes it, and it's this little teapot that plays a little whistly song.
Yeah.
So was that just found and perfect, or I think are there times where you're like, what we really need for an enhancement here is something like this, and we don't know exactly what it is, but it's something that we need to kind of ram this home. But the teapot was just happened to be sitting there, and that was more luck than anything.
Yeah,
she brought it.
Boy, yeah, we didn't. That wasn't our idea. She brought it, and then as soon as one of us hit the button, we're like, okay, we're gonna use this somehow. So we just put it in the scene. But yeah, that we didn't. I mean, what's funny is that we're very like a well-oiled machine at this point. We know what we're doing, but some of our best moments still to this day are always the improvised stuff that you don't plan. Like, video, there's stuff that we didn't write that comes out and it like makes the video what it is.
Yeah. I know people have said stuff to me, like people in my audience have said, it was really funny, or I thought you really nailed it when you said this thing right after, like if I'm doing a monologue before a show or something. Yeah. And I think to myself, well, I say to them, thank you. But then I think to myself, yeah, that was like the 11th try to do that. So how much, like maybe just still focusing on that example, how much experimentation is there, and how many takes and how many, changes? Because I'm not thinking like someone said action, you press the button on the teapot and that was it. Like there was probably experimentation with how to use that thing for maximum effect, right?
Yeah. I don't know how it came. Yeah. Again, it's just living in the moment. I mean, I guess it comes from all the theater experience. I mean, we had at the ending of that scene, she walks off, both the girls walk off. I'm left there by myself and no one said cut, so the camera's still holding on me. So I'm thinking, well, I can't just sit here and do nothing. So I looked at the teapot and, took a swig out of it. It just happened in the moment, and we ended up using it.
Interesting.
Just totally in the moment.
Yeah, related, this might sound like I'm going in a completely different direction, but I'll tie it back together. And if you mention this in passing, I'm sorry. Your friend Tony, what's his background? Like, does he have any theater experience or acting experience?
Yeah. In fact, what bonded Tony and I was being in a acting class together. In fact, no, it was before that. I saw him, we were in community college together, and I went to the One Act Festival where they did, student written one acts, and, I don't want to say that they were bad, but they weren't that great. Mm-hmm. And then the last one was one that he wrote, and I'd never met him, and it was powerful. It was really good and really, really well written and very raw and visceral. And I was really impressed. And I was like, wow, okay, so this is interesting. Who is this guy? Who wrote this? I want to know this person. So I sought him out and wanted to be his friend. And then we were in an acting class together, and we ended up doing a scene for a directing class. We did a scene from Waiting for Godot, and it was amazing. And, we just became best friends. So he was a writer. I mean, he's still primarily a writer. But also just loves, acting and filmmaking and yeah. He and Kevin, I met Kevin through Tony because Kevin and Tony both worked as projectionists at the local movie theater.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in your troupe or who's appeared in your videos more than a few times who was just kind of thrown into this with no prior experience?
Oh, no prior experience.
Like not having done any acting?
I'd say the least experienced actor of the group is Kevin.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, cause Delman, who is one of our secret weapons in our videos cause he's so funny, he and I met at in theater school, so he was an actor.
Which one is he?
Kevin, he is, okay, so speaking of like improvised moments, he's in the Flat Earth Conspiracy Guy video. So the other two guys in the video are Nick and Delman, and both of them reoccur in lots of our videos. And Delman is the taller, curly-haired, he kind of looks like my brother in a way. And he came up with a line in that video, because we wanted to make a joke about burgers in it, and I said that McDonald's had to make your own burger, so he decided to call it a Build-A-Burger as he's walking off, and that wasn't written, he just said it, and that ended up being one of the funniest moments of the video, because it's, you know, it's a nice little wink about Build-A-Burger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Build-A-Burger. He nailed it. I think Nick too. So Nick and Kevin both really had little acting, I put air quotes around it because, you know, they did sort of acting in funny videos, but never had like training or, you know, any kind of experience acting in any other way than stuff they did dicking around with their friends. Right. So
the question that it leads to for me, it's a question that I asked a guest earlier in the series. Do you know Julia Turyanskia?
I do. In fact, yeah, when you give me a link to your show, that was the first one that came up. And I met her at Anarchapulco in 2015.
Mm-hmm. So she has a YouTube channel called Brave the World, and she has an artistic background. She went to school for it in Canada. And, you know, we were talking about creative potential. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there in like, there's kind of like a creativity self-help movement that says this is something that anybody can do. So I'm kind of just having you inventory the people who are in your group. Yep. Do you feel, or did you ever feel, this might be kind of a tricky question to address, that you felt you had some kind of natural ability for this that other people didn't have? I mean, you guys are all so good individually and so good together, but I've even felt like, you know, I look at me and my two brothers, right? And I can do things that my middle brother can't do, just like there's other things he can do that I really wouldn't shine at. So talk about that for a minute. Do you think that there is, you know, a natural talent that you discovered in yourself that just needed to be honed and improved?
Yeah, I do. I think that, you know, natural talent is where it starts. I mean, like Beethoven practiced a lot to become Beethoven. So natural talent is where it starts. You have like you're drawn to a certain avenue of art or whatever, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of love and passion and dedication to get really good at it. You can have that, you know, a really good instinct on it and have the raw talent, but it does take experience and repetition. So yeah, I mean, I remember thinking as a kid, what drew me to acting was I thought, oh, this is easy. I can do this. Oh, this is acting? Okay, yeah, I can do that. And that was always my attitude with it. I can do this. And it wasn't something that was daunting. It wasn't like, oh my God, I gotta pick up this guitar and figure out how to do the strings and how to read my fingers. It was like, oh, acting. Sure. Yeah, let's do it. Piece of cake. And of course, after that, you know, from there, you realize, oh wow, there is actually like a technique involved and there's so many layers to it and nuance and, you know, there's a lot to learn, but it does start with like a natural, I think, and some people don't have that, you know, it's like I'm really terrible at being able to pick up a guitar and have the focus to make sense of it and make music with it. I was drawn to performance and being in front of people and sharing through my words, you know.
Can you think of something that you attempted and failed at miserably?
Failed at miserably.
Even in the performance realm, maybe? But outside of it is fine.
Yeah, you know, I was never, I mean, I've tried being a musician so many times because I love music so much, but it just doesn't seem to stick for me. I especially now as I'm getting older, it's actually frustrating because I wish I like mastered an instrument, but I haven't. So yeah, I've definitely picked up a guitar or a ukulele so many times and worked at it for a while and never really gotten that good. It's not something that comes very easily for me at all. It never has. So I think that, yeah.
And just curious.
Yeah.
And how was that? I mean, how were those experiences? Did you learn anything from them?
I learned that, I have a lot of respect for people who play music. And I also learned that it's almost a sense of relief. Like, when I think, well, at least I am able to express through performance and have this other artistic, talent working for me. At least I have that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just performance, but writing. I have a knack for writing. I'm really good with words, and I'm really glad that I have like an ability to, you know, use words to express, to communicate, to tell a story, to make people laugh. I'm very, you know, words are my art, like playing with words and language. So I'm happy. So yeah, failing at that makes me more appreciative of the skills I do have.
You know, it's interesting. I ask for the contrast between, you know, something that you failed at and something where you've been, you know, really successful. You know, I think a lot of people have this creative impulse and they try to channel it in the wrong direction. You know, they see somebody that impresses them and then they think that's the route for them.
Right.
So I have to say that as podcasts go, I've been running a fairly successful one that I'm really proud of for over 6 years now.
Yeah.
And,
but definitely one of the more fluid conversations I've had in an interview. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Doing
Terrific.
Great work, man. You're doing great.
Thank you. But the genesis for the idea that generated like the first 20 episodes of the show that got me off and running, I wrote it as a documentary film treatment, you know? And I remember talking about education with, it's more distant relative of mine. He was a television producer. And, we were talking about education and I, you know, told him about my experience. I was still working in the schools at the time. We really, really connected on what the problems were. So I wrote him this very like 3-page, very libertarian, you know, even maybe like anarchist treatment of schooling versus education. Wasn't nearly as fully formed as what I would write today. But I brought it to him thinking he was just going to be like, thank you. This is magnificent. Let's get some money and get to work on this.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, this is probably over most people's heads. And how are you familiar with Michael Moore? Have you seen his movies? You should maybe watch more of his movies and watch what he does. And I was like, all right, fuck you. And I think that was the last time I talked to him. But that was maybe 2006. So I was, you know, working at the time, like tutoring rich kids in Boston, Massachusetts and the surrounding area and really immersing myself in like the ideas of John Taylor Gatto, who I stumbled across in my career completely accidentally more than once. Interesting story. But yeah, I really, if I just hadn't had podcasting fall into my lap, thanks to people like Richard Grove or Free Talk Live, I could have, you know, abandoned that idea with a lot of frustration, with a lot of self-defeat, and having a lot of really powerful ideas presented in what I thought was like a unique and entertaining way, go nowhere. Because I said it's going to be this way, and maybe it can be that way in the future. You know, I mean, this is certainly a nice running start into using a different medium to express these ideas. But if I had just settled that, look, it has to be documentary film. I mean, I was so naive. I thought I could make this into like an Academy Award winning documentary film. I was very naive about the politics of Hollywood at the time. But yeah, I just think that that's really, as we're winding down here, I think that's something that's important to stress that, you know, people should follow the creative impulses they have, but a lot of times people might choose the wrong media for it.
Yeah. Well, you know, after hearing you tell that story, I think a better analogy for me is, rather than guitar, is the pursuit of the acting career compared to what I'm doing now. Because that was my life. I mean, that was all I was thinking about. Even though I was waking up, you know, at lightning speed, I was still like thinking, okay, yeah, I get it. I get that there's a lot of darkness, but and manipulation, but I'm still going to be an actor. I'm still going to do this thing. And when I got to LA, seeing just how nearly impossible it is to break into that business as an actor, it wasn't working, even though I'm a good actor. But I wasn't getting any opportunities. I mean, I got dropped by agents and I was thinking like, what is the deal here? Something's not right. And it was because I wasn't following the thing that I was supposed to do. I was giving all my power over to one aspect of my creativity, which was trying to be this actor. And as soon as I let that go and focus solely on, you know, trusting my own voice and my own thing. Like Joy Camp isn't just acting. It's a whole thing, right? It's a whole presentation. It's incorporating so many different elements, and so letting go of that one thing that I was trying so hard at. I was trying so hard to be a successful actor, and I was just grinding myself into the ground and banging on doors that weren't opening. And that doesn't happen for everybody, but some people, the doors open and they weren't opening for me. So I, more or less got myself in alignment with my own truth, and that's when my life started making more sense. Really started making more sense.
Yeah, you made a whole bunch of lemonade with the Pizza Hut commercial. I thought, and how you presented it on Joy Camp, and I think I saw the commercial on television, and I said, I know that guy, and I thought it was cool. But then when I saw the Joy Camp video called Pizza the Hut, I was like, that is just masterful. I was like, first of all, I was like, how can he do that? Don't they have like 1,000 lawyers? And, but maybe that's not an issue. But what were you trying to deal with, in that video? I mean, I'm assuming that video was your idea.
It was my idea.
Yeah.
Well, that was, I've done several commercials. That one happened to be the one that was seen the most.
Mm-hmm.
And, as soon as it started airing, a lot of people were very happy for me. They're like, oh, awesome. Saw you in Pizza Hut. Cool, man.
Yeah.
They're really, happy for me. And then there's a lot of other people who were writing to us and like giving me a really hard time, like shaming me almost for selling out and doing this thing for a company that was so bad and using that was bad for you, using ingredients that were bad for your health, and they were just really attacking me for being a sellout essentially. And there's something really kind of irritating about that, because me personally, I'm not endorsing Pizza Hut. I'm not saying anyone should get Pizza Hut, but at the same time, I'm using my skills that I harnessed for so long to get paid. Like, I don't love the economic model. I don't like that we all have to chase paper in order to survive, but we do to an extent. And I'd rather do a commercial once every few months and make a bunch of money than slave away at some job that sucks my soul away.
Yeah.
Little by little every day, so that I can have the freedom to do things like Joy Camp. So it was such an obvious thing. So to me, I was like, you don't understand. Like, yeah, if I was financially set, if I didn't have debt that I was worrying about or having to deal with and a rent to pay for the roof over my head, yeah, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't do these commercials, but hey, I got over $10,000 like that for doing that commercial. Of course I'm going to take it. Are you kidding me? Of course I'm going to take it. So it was an immediate response to that, the backlash of the responses or the reactions people were having to seeing me in a commercial. So we decided to turn it on its head and like make that the subject of a video.
You want these Joy Camp projects to keep going? I need funding. I got it from Pizza Hut this time.
You're eating it, dude. Did you have a spit bucket at least?
I did have a spit bucket, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I spit out every bite. I took like 70 bites.
Decent production.
Yeah.
But listen, you guys, I got to get you these great gifts for Hanukkah and Christmas
with your
as a result
dirty
of
Pizza Hut money.
All money's dirty.
Yeah, but I don't want to sell out.
I don't give you a hard time for how you guys made money. You trust fund baby, lottery winner, and
That was one time, dude.
yeah, that's all it takes to win the lottery. And I don't even know who you are.
This is our #1 fan, bro.
Duh! No one tells me anything. You guys keep secrets. I can't stand it anymore. And you are Jewish and you're wearing a Santa Claus hat.
I didn't say I believe in Jesus. I just said I love Christmas.
It's a cool hat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it in the back like a yarmulke.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you were a crisis actor, you know?
No. That's a video that we have not done yet. We've been joking about doing a crisis actor video for so long, it hasn't happened yet.
I think sometimes you get to be an artist and sometimes you're more of a technician, you using the skills you have to, deliver on some kind of project. I wish I could do this, as the only thing that I do and be rich doing it. Right. I edit trashy romance novel audiobooks in my spare time. That's fine with me. It's like using skills I've built to make money and make my life better. So I don't really have any objection to it.
Yeah, and it's totally temporary. I mean, I'm not trying to make a living or a career out of commercial acting. This is something gosh, I hardly ever do it. I mean, it's a tough job to get.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it's not like I can just go, you know what, today I'm going to do a commercial and walk into an office and be like, all right, I'm ready. What products do you have?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. I mean, this is why people are in LA. I'm dealing with heavy competition for these jobs. So getting 1 or 2 a year is an accomplishment. So yeah, and it's not the goal. If people have an objection to me being in commercials, then you know what? Share our videos more.
Yeah.
Spread them around. Like, get this more well known. I mean, every time we release a video, we're starting from scratch. Like, we have to push to get people to see them and to share them. And, you know, we've been doing this for 4 years and we only have 17,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're hustling, you know, we're not getting paid a dime to do this stuff. So if you have an issue with that, then help us get bigger.
Absolutely. Amen. Yeah. Amen. I can identify with that completely. Last question, because I think there's so much we didn't explore today, and I would love to have you and Kevin back on the show.
Yeah, I know he'd love to come on too.
To talk more about ideas. Like, I really wanted to focus in on this theme that we've been dealing with, so that's how a lot of my questions were directed. But we could have, I think, just a fantastic conversation about some of the ideas you guys have explored in your videos. And I think, you know, I opened our conversation reading some of the snarkier comments from my Facebook thread. And it's something that I've often wondered too, is it's like, where do you guys actually stand on some of this stuff? And maybe you can only speak for yourself, Benny. Yeah. A lot of my audience is really standoffish with these topics, especially when things start to get more lizardy, you know? Yeah. But, I guess I'd put the question to you like this. How far are you willing to go? This was actually, I sent you a link to the series we did called Conspirathon, which was like a critical thinking approach to conspiracy theories, and conspiracy narratives. And that was one of the questions that I put not only to myself, but to the people who are on the show with me. Where do you draw the line? You know, like, what would you say is the most out of the mainstream conspiracy narrative that you're willing to entertain?
Well, it's definitely not lizards, because we make fun of lizards all the time in videos. Right. That's one that we don't have a problem with making fun of, and, you know, having in our videos as a theme almost, like recurring. What's too far for us? I mean, you know, I hate to admit it, but there are some things that we are very tentative to approach because they're such sensitive subjects. We really have not found a way to comment on some of the information that's coming out and the ideas coming out about World War II and Hitler, and, you know, some things that are, man, really fascinating and troubling, but we haven't been able to find a way to, like, it's just like a red zone for us. We don't know. Unless we come up with the perfect idea, we just don't want to touch it.
If I threw out a name like C.D. Jackson, am I going down the right path? Or
C.D. Jackson? I don't know.
He was an Army intelligence, psychological warfare guy. I'm not sure that, you know, maybe we're planting the seeds for a future conversation here. I'm interested to learn more, but you actually feel like God, I just said this in the recent show that I did with Julia, that, you know, part of our conversation was like how to create interesting commentary in an online space that's becoming not just cacophonous, but like kind of Orwellian, like with what's been happening with Twitter.
You know, it's a really tough one for us, man, that we struggle with almost every day, is not being able to have not having commentary on Israel-Palestine. That's a really tough one. We did have a video. We had a video. One of our award show videos really took on that issue, and it got taken down. All of our award videos have been taken down from our channel now, which is very disheartening for us, but we didn't want to lose our channel completely, so we had to just sort of roll with that. But that's a really tough one for us, because we would really love to speak out more about that issue, but we are a little bit stifled.
Was it done on the grounds of copyright, like using the names of award shows?
Using footage from the shows, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Academy of Motion Arts, Picture Sciences, whatever, I mean, they directly were like, nope, can't use it. And then the Grammys did the same thing, and we got so many we got threats from YouTube saying, like, if you do this again, you're done. Like, we'll shut down your channel. So we then took down our other 2 award show videos to be safe. Just be like, hey, all right, we'd rather lose these from the channel and keep the channel than, fight for these videos. Because basically the problem with, those copyright things is we are protected under parody law, but there is it's like such a gray area, and there's an arbiter who's going to watch it and make a judgment based off of their assessment. And if there's someone who sees our video and, for instance, doesn't think that 9/11 was an inside job, which is one of the videos we had a joke about that in there, then they could just say, okay, no, fuck these guys, they're out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very delicate. There's no, we're not protected by anything really. So yeah, all those videos are going to be up on Vimeo though. So
that's great news. Yeah.
Anybody who knows the award show videos, they're, in fact, some of them are available already. We just haven't sent them out to anybody.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's good news. Yeah, I'm in the same place with 2 strikes. So, I don't want to fight another battle. I got dinged by the University of Pennsylvania, Department of Public Broadcasting.
Wow.
For using footage of the Milgram experiments. Still photos, not footage, still photos. And
they're bitches, man.
Yeah.
YouTube sucks.
Yeah. Well, I think, very soon there's going to be a lot of other options, and I'm excited about that. But right now, I think we're in a scary time, and I think there's going to be, a response to this more, like I said, Orwellian pushback on what we're seeing on Facebook and Twitter. And, I'm still fairly optimistic about that. But hey, Benny, thank you so much for all your time. This was long overdue.
Hey, my pleasure, Brett. Yeah.
And I hope we can do it again. And like I said, have a conversation that maybe we can get into some of the themes in the videos and explore those together, because I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about that. And Kevin and anybody else from your crew who wanted to join us, that would be totally awesome.
Yeah, you mentioned something about not knowing where we stand on issues. I mean, we kind of like to do that. We kind of like to present it like, okay, here's the thing. It's up to you to you make up your own mind about it. But I think that for the most part, you can kind of tell where we stand on it.
Yeah, I remember I watched a video, I think it was called The Lizards of Waverly Place, and I got halfway through it and I said, what the fuck? And I stopped and I had to put it back to the beginning because I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. But you're right. Those moments of being confused or being thrown off are great opportunities to think, and you guys do a really great job with that.
Thank you. Yeah. And that video in particular, we wanted to show how useless it was to argue with, or not useless, but how frustrating it is when people argue with each other, which then divides the community and, keeps people fighting, divide and conquer. That was the message of that video.
It's one worth checking out this month for sure. Yeah. So can you just give your site and how people can connect with you on social media and the YouTube username?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, you can connect with me directly on Facebook. I accept most friend requests, but if you want to connect directly, you can find me on there. And Joy Camp can be found at thejoycamp.com. There's a that we don't like, but hey, take what you can get. Thejoycamp.com. YouTube channel is youtube.com/thejoycamp. There's a Facebook page called Joy Camp. Twitter, we're Joy Camp on Twitter. Actually, no, it is The Joy Camp on Twitter. And yeah, if you like our videos, please spread them around, share them, because not only does it help us, but it also, like you said, Brett, I mean, they're very watchable, and people who are not necessarily awake, like them just as much as people who are, and it actually makes people who are, ignorant on certain subjects more open-minded to certain subjects. So we do feel like this is an important work that we're doing. So if you like the videos, please share them. And if you have an extra $1 or even 10 cents that you want to throw our way, we do everything on a shoestring budget, and every dollar that we get on donations goes directly towards production, and, everything helps. So you can stop seeing me in commercials, and so Kevin can quit his job being producer on another show.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a donation link, under, I think, all of our videos.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed this conversation.
My pleasure, Brett. Thank you.
Hey guys, cheers
to being awake.
Cheers to not being one of the sheep.
Sure.
Hey, you know what? Cheers to Russell Brand.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
What's wrong with Russell
I'm
Brand?
roasting to Russell Brand.
Yeah, Russell Brand.
I gotta get out of here. I can't
Brand.
be who toast to Russell Brand.
Yeah, Russell Brand's
Yeah,
pretty
he's a
good.
socialist. He's a socialist. Redistribute the wealth. I say, why doesn't he just redistribute his own wealth?
At least
He's
he's
worth
brave
15
enough to talk
million.
about the real problems facing the world.
Like,
Yeah, that's right. The real problem.
Reptilian overlord aliens, reptilian overlord aliens, fucking Anunnaki, the fucking Anunnaki.
Always about the reptilians again.
Always talking
about
the monarchy.
It's a turd in the
Bloodline.
bucket.
Focus on that stuff. It's a dead end.
It's not a fucking dead
The
end.
Illuminati is a dead end. You gotta
Exactly.
focus
Rohan,
on what's
you're wrong.
happening now.
I am what's focused
Now.
on now.
Right.
That's
Fukushima.
what-
Right.
Fukushima,
Yeah.
fracking,
I'm not. Yeah,
False
okay.
flags.
I'm not
False
fucking
flags.
disagreeing with you guys.
Crisis actors.
Okay. There's no such thing as fucking crisis
you
actors.
are.
You were an idiot. What? You were a fucking idiot. I'm an idiot. You were an idiot. I agree with him. You are an idiot. You are a fucking-
use the fucking trivium?
Dude, that makes no sense. I use the fucking trivium too, you idiot.
Yeah,
you
well,
fucking
I
dumbass.
use the trivium and the quad.
Oh,
there it is.
He's always used it. I use the quadrivium.
What do you got? I'm gonna dance around like a monkey.
Maybe if you start
dancing
eating
around.
all
Why don't you
that
fucking-
dead meat, you guys wouldn't be so
Excuse me?
Wait a
freaking
minute.
riled up.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
How
that's
could I
right.
forget?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
fucking
I'm a
eat
vegan.
Right.
I'm
This is
a
vegan.
vegan.
I'm a vegan.
I'm
I'm
a vegan.
so
What's
healthy.
wrong
I'm a
with
healthy
eating
meat.
Oh, I bet the next thing you're going to tell me is that 9/11 wasn't an inside job.
No, actually, I think we can all agree that's not.
Oh, good. Yeah, well,
Building
Building 7 and
Yeah.
Thermite.
Larry Silverstein.
Shills. You guys are shills.
Shills.
You're a willful idiot.
Fuck both of you. You guys are fucking shapeshifters.